Hey, it's Elizabeth Brown, the Kitchen Vixen. Today I'm doing for you one of my favorite huge breakfasts. So I'm doing salmon with collard greens and red onions, but I also do what's called a breakfast dessert where I make strawberries or whatever fruit I have basically, sauteed with like butter and cinnamon, and then I add my oats, and then I add scrambled eggs and I bake it. It's a huge meal. So this is like my post-workout meal. 866 calories and I think 60 grams of protein and 50 grams of carbs. So it's really well balanced actually. Because of the salmon, there's like a ton of omega-3s, like over 3,000 milligrams of omega-3s. Of course, the good EPA and DHA, which is good for your eyes, your heart, your brain, and your working muscles. So very, very well balanced. We're gonna do the oats first because I'm gonna bake them in the oven for 20 minutes while I also prepare my salmon. I put about 1.5 teaspoons of butter from grass-fed cows with my strawberries and cinnamon. Then I'm gonna add my oats, half a cup of uncooked oats, and then I'll add a cup of water to that, bring it to a boil. So it's really, really, really simple. Like I thought I should probably just break this into 2 recipes, but they're both like so simple, and this is really what I just eat. I'll eat one big meal after I work out, so I might as well show you both recipes. Very simple. Got my oats in there, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of water. I like a cup in my analysis, but you can use your judgment. It's basically in the oven with the egg. It's gonna really cook down and puff up a little bit. It'll be like a drier version of oatmeal. To me, it's like eating like a big muffin or something. It's very satisfying. Bring that to a simmer. Burner set on like medium high, which I say is like 4 o'clock. Then I'm gonna start my salmon. Again, set my burner on like medium high, like 4 o'clock. I'm gonna put the salmon in first and get that browning because I like my salmon really crisp on one side. So I'll start with my butter. So like a good like pat of butter. So again, I'm saying in my analysis is like 1.5 teaspoons. I don't know, maybe it's a tablespoon, but I like fat, so I was a little more conservative in my analysis. It still ends up being pretty much fat. But again, this is like most of my food, and then I have my smoothie and meet all my nutrition needs. With the smoothie I did the other day and this, we're good to go. I'm gonna add a little salt and pepper. I use sea salt. I recently bought iodized sea salt because iodine is an essential nutrient that is not present in sea salts, and we need it for proper thyroid function. You can meet your iodine needs through sea vegetables, but I'm actually not in the habit of incorporating them every day, so I decided to switch to iodized sea salt. It's pretty good. It doesn't have, I cannot stand the taste of table salt. It doesn't have that flavor. I have just 1 collard green and a rib. I cut the rib out first because I'm going to saute that with my red onion. Like a chunk of onion, half a cup's worth. It doesn't matter. These are like low to no calorie accoutrements, you know, the things that add flavor to your food, but also all the nutrition. Don't forget to save your peels for stock. Ribs for the collard greens, I did like a medium dice. And then for the onions, I like 1/2 inch slices. My nice, beautiful piece of wild caught salmon. I had a piece yesterday. It was so good. I'm like, okay, let me analyze this, what I ate, and let's make this our next recipe. You can't get enough of those omega-3s. Plus you get lots of protein to rebuild muscle. And then I'm gonna scramble my egg while my salmon is back there cooking. So I really like multitasking cooking. It's more fun. It's more engaging. I'm gonna scramble up those eggs, and the eggs are gonna go right in the oatmeal, and the oatmeal's gonna go right in the oven. See, my oats are nice and boiled. Okay, so I'm gonna add my egg. I hate to waste anything. I like spatulas. I write about them in my book as far as like one of my 3 essential kitchen tools: spatula, a good sharp chef's basic blender. And these are things that you could make pretty much anything out of. And then of course a skillet. I'm just gonna scramble it with oats and then throw it in the oven. If you mix it together, it's more like you're eating like a baked good, like I said, like a big muffin. It looks pretty gross actually. When it's done, it'll look yummy. So that's like most of my calories right there. That's like 500 something calories just for the oats. I'm gonna add my chopped vegetable, and I'm going to chiffonade my collard greens. So if anybody had the pleasure of seeing my very first cooking show pilot about omega-3 fats, the one I called my show Eat to Live with Elizabeth, I talked about chiffonade. You take any type of leaf like this. It could be, so you do it with mint or basil. You could stack them up. It makes it easier, and it gives you a nice cutting technique that like makes everything look better. Just roll up whatever leaf it is. Just do a slice, and it makes little ribbon. Basil, are you gonna open the cabinet? So there's my salmon cooking on one side. I like the salmon skin. The skin is kind of crispy now. I'll add my greens. So this is so simple, right? So I'm gonna leave that cook. We'll come back in a minute when it's all done. I think my salmon is nice and done. We're gonna check the middle. Looks pretty good. My greens are perfectly green. Everything is perfect. There's my salmon and my greens. It's just a little bit. It's kind of like the greens and the onions serve as like almost like a condiment for the salmon. It's just so good together. Like I seriously, this is going to be my new favorite meal. Plus, I'm always worried about my brain health because I work with patients with dementia and it's scary. So it's not the only thing you can do, but it is a really huge component to dementia prevention is getting adequate omega-3s. And as much as I advocate like any source, like I do flaxseed in my smoothies, but the truth is this is what your brain wants the most, that final longest chain of omega-3s, because it starts out with, in the plant source, it's alpha linoleic acid. I have to check my facts, but then it converts and it competes. So that omega-3 competes with the omega-6, and they're competing for their more usable form. And I always think of it as like they meet in the middle, and then they're going to branch off into their more desirable chain where they're going to do their job. Like in omega-6s, there are pro-inflammatory endpoints, and so these fats that promote inflammation, which is essential for healing. In fact, I hurt myself this morning, and so the part of my body that I hurt is going to get inflamed, and I know that that's necessary. I didn't even take any ibuprofen because I want some healing to occur. But then we don't want too much inflammation in our body, and chronic small amounts of inflammation is what leads to chronic disease. So in order to balance that, we want to get things like omega-3s from fish, and those omega-3s are things like EPA and DHA. So those, when they go through the conversion, when ALA goes through the conversion, it'll convert to EPA, and then DHA is the longest of the chains. I think it's like 20. Anyway, so I need to review my facts before I start spewing this stuff out. I'll have to put it in my book. I'm better at getting facts in writing. So anyway, I'm going to take my fish with me so I have that brain health so I can remember this stuff. But I did not freshen up on my omega-3 knowledge. I think it's 22 for DHA and 20 for EPA. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I just know where the sources are. I know where, that we want to get more omega-3s, even if they're from plant sources versus omega-6s. We want a 4-to-1 ratio. You can still have 4 times as much omega-6s to omega-3. Not that you have to worry about that, like to do the math, but when I show you, when I finally get my book done, I will show you how all my recipes will fall within those ratios. So when you're eating my food throughout the day, you're always going to be at 4-to-1 or less. So we're going to have good brain health. It doesn't mean I'm going to remember all the details. We're going to have good brain health, good eye health, good heart health, and strong muscles. I'm just so into red onion. In that same family of blueberries, those anthocyanins, which are really powerful antioxidants that help to fight free radicals on more than one level. Most of your antioxidants is donating 1 electron to free radical scavengers. So like a free radical comes along and it's going up to a cell and it's saying, I'm going to take 1 of your electrons, thank you, because I am unstable and I need to be stable. And then that poor little cell is vulnerable, like your LDL cholesterol becomes vulnerable and it's susceptible to oxidation and can cause harm. So if you get things like anthocyanins, like in blueberries, red cabbage, purple onions or purple red whatever, strawberries, like all those anthocyanins in that cyan group, blue, purple, red, those antioxidants can donate more than 1 electron. So they're super powerful. They're like the superheroes. So that's why I choose red onions, because they taste so much better than regular onions. Perfect salmon. See? It's done. It's done perfectly in the middle. I'm so impressed with myself. All right, let's taste it. Ready? It's going to be so good. I know it already. Delicious. I feel my brain being sharper already. Dementia prevention. Just observe, in 20 minutes, I made 2 meals or 1 big meal, and I got ready for work. I'm really, really proficient or efficient. I'm proficient at getting ready quickly. Very efficient. Oatmeal is done. My baked oatmeal, like a big old strawberry muffin. 23 grams of protein. It's like 500 calories. You have to use an oven-safe pot. It could be like a little pot like this or a little skillet like this, but they have to be oven-safe. Some people will say you can wrap the handle in foil if it's not oven-safe, but I'm always leery about that. Oven-safe, and then don't touch the handle. The handle is so hot because I put it on the top rack, so it's really hot. I'm gonna put it in my thermos, which will keep it warm for up to 8 hours. All right, have a good day. It's Elizabeth Brown, the Kitchen Vixen. I go to work like the Kitchen Vixen. I teach about nutrition. I hope you learned something. See you next time.